Let's all go to the movies. Let's all go to the movies. Let's all go to the movies and get ourselves some snacks.
That was fantastic, Jade.
It's movie night. Yay!
We got together with James and Shantell and did a side-by-side comparison of the book to the movie.
There was a lot to sift through, but I think that it made for a rather entertaining episode, dear Nathan. That was weird. I went to a weird place.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot there, but it was a lot of fun to record.
I agree. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
So it's movie night. It's pretty exciting. I couldn't wait to watch the movie again. It's been a really long time.
It's been a struggle to not watch the movie while we've been doing this because, well, we love them and we watch them all the time. But it was kind of awesome to have that little break and then rewatch it again. It was like, ah, the movie.
Now, you guys watch the movies all the time over at your house. This is probably the first time I've sat down and watched that movie in a real long time. But I liked it. I forgot a lot about it, even though we just read the book. Yeah, I dig it.
We actually had number 1 going in one room for us and number 3 playing in the other room that the kids were watching. It was quality.
When this movie came out, I saw it in theaters, so it always has this little bit of, like, extra special magic because we went there and it was like a whole big thing with the merchandise and a very magical feeling. The music gives you that nostalgia feel.
Call me crazy, but that was one of the big first disappointments I noticed between reading the book and watching the movie was it didn't open up with the theme music. Really sucks. But the book was good either way.
I did not take notes today, so we are going to be working off of a BuzzFeed article on the differences between the movie and the book, just so everyone knows that these are not my notes.
You would have had great notes. Well, I would just like to start off by saying we definitely skipped a whole lot in the beginning. Whole scenes from the book are just gone. We're supposed to be meeting the Dursleys first, kind of getting to know that family and seeing Vernon off to work, seeing some mysterious things going on, owls in the air in the daytime, and McGonagall in her cat form reading a map and a sign, and just kind of craziness going on, and we do not get that. And I feel like it was probably a time thing, and they thought that that was something to cut, but rereading the book after only watching the movies for so long, I realized again what I thought in the beginning. Just put it all in. I'd sit and watch it.
I kind of felt like that happened several times throughout the whole movie. You get ready for something specific to happen, and it's kind of jumped over, and like, oh, damn, we're at this part now? Fuck, I didn't think we were here yet. But they do that. They move the movie right along, like, quick pace. A little later, and we don't have to go into it right now, but the whole Quidditch scene where they're just flying around for, like, 5 whole minutes, that was really long. And then other specific details, like what you're talking about, I think should have been left in.
I think that's part of the reason why I haven't watched the movies as much as I've read the books over the years, because although I love the movies, I get more frustrated than not watching them because I know all the stuff that they took out, and then I see all the stuff they put in, and I think it's dumb, and it had no place. So I just go back to my book, and I'm happy again. Other than missing a couple characters like Piers and Miss Fig, the first big difference is the glass going missing at the zoo. Really, that whole zoo trip is different, a little more empty than what we get in the book.
Right. There's a character missing, for one.
A lot of interaction there. Like with the ice cream, like they could have put a scene in there where they're dipping him on the ice cream, because I was always really pissed for him that he got that fucking lemon pop. Like, cool, you got a lemon pop, but man, I like ice cream. I think part of it is, too, I want to see what the Knickerbocker Glory looked like, because I'm pretty sure it looks like, I don't remember what they're called, but the ice cream that we get up at Frosty Treat with
the rocket cones.
The rocket cones, yeah, the double cone.
Yep.
That's what I picture.
That product. Okay?
Oh,
Whoever invented that needs to get kicked in the nuts. Because if you want nothing but 100% have to wash your child in 3 minutes, that's what you need to get. Because it is nothing but a mess.
I think every parent can share your pain there, James.
Try doing it 3 times, all simultaneously. And then riding your bike home. Anyway.
Well, no, that would be horrible.
Yeah.
Clearly, he has some feels about this, and he may need some counseling.
Well, in this movie, Harry just gets the shit kicked out of him a bunch. To start, the main difference happens when the glass itself disappears. In the movie, the glass reappears to where he's trapped in there, and Mrs. Dursley starts screaming once he's in there, but I thought it was funny. At that point, the snake has crawled out, scaring the shit out of everybody in the hallway, and there's nothing then in the exhibit to be scared about. Like, the snake is gone. Your kid is now the safest person in that room. What are you screaming about?
I loved the way she did that, though.
She half crawled onto the glass,
Yeah.
which is exactly what a mom would do if she's in panic mode, but it was a lot. I was like, oh, geez, lady, easy.
Earlier, I was telling you that I really enjoyed her in this movie, and it's not because she's an enjoyable character, but it's because, like, you believe her. She's screaming for Dudley, and you're like, oh. I just love the way she screams as it clutches the glass. It's really good. And the snake. They cut out the amigos line. He just says thanks.
Yeah, in the movie, that's the only thing he says. Other than that, it's just that body language. We had an episode we talked about that. Right. How we switched back and forth, and they eliminated that problem in the movie.
Yeah.
I think the people who made this movie saw some of the areas in the book where people weren't sure why something was the way it was, or maybe it was just worded a little weird, and they adjusted it enough. Like in this situation, he didn't go back and forth. He escalated to finally actually speaking to Harry. They were just understanding each other for a minute.
Yeah. And the way that Vernon reacts is a little bit different, and it's pretty similar, but things are tweaked just enough to where you're like, okay.
I like that dude's face. I like seeing him pissed off. He's also the guy who plays the king in Pirates of the Caribbean, and I love those movies as well, and he's angry in that movie too. Anytime I watch that, I can't help but think of this guy.
By the way, though, all of the Dursleys are completely wrong colored as far as their hair color goes.
Yeah, they're all supposed to be blonde, right?
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point.
I mean, it's forgivable, but, like, it's wrong.
It is. There was definitely some characters, though, that I think we'll get to that they really hit the mark there. They did pretty good.
So, things move pretty quick. Harry gets... Wait, hold on. The letters come.
Yes, the letters.
The letters come, and then they get pissed off, and they take off.
I want to say it's not really anything that's different from the book to the movie. It's just portrayed a little differently. You really get why Vernon was finally at just the last strand. His very last nerve in the book. And in the movie, I think it progresses so quickly that when the house gets flooded with letters, everybody just magically loses their balance for whatever reason. They can't just stand up even though the letters are coming. It made no sense to me. And it happens and it's like, oh, it's crazy, it's whimsical. And then they're gone and they go to the lighthouse. In the book, it ramps up slow. 1 letter. 2 letters. 5 letters. 10 letters, and then, on and on until the house is being flooded and Vernon is slowly just going apeshit. In the movie, it kind of glazes over that, and that's one of my favorite parts, because, the dad just loses his mind.
Slowly spirals out of control.
Cannot handle. And in the movie, he does it, and I like the way that the actor does it, but it goes fast. You don't get to savor Dick Vernon.
I think you kind of get that with any book to movie scenario, where in books things can be lasting for days and weeks and you're feeling it and you're seeing it in your head. And I think when it comes to moving that to a movie, a couple weeks worth of time in a book ends up being a few minutes.
It's kind of just a blip.
I do think, too, there's a lot of, character building that we don't get there because of it. Like, with Dudley, you don't know Dudley as well in the movies as you do in the books. Because you have those little moments where he's like, I know what day it is because I've missed these TV shows, and I really just want my video games. And all of those little things that just in the movie, he just looks like I don't know, fat asshole.
Bitch.
Yeah. Really just a whiny little bitch. Yeah. That's all he is in the movies.
You really get to see what a grade A piece of shit he is in the book. It really makes you hate him.
I do have to say at this point they're getting to the little lighthouse island. They're secluded, trying to get away from the letters. And I think they did a pretty decent job with that scene. Just the setting that they're in. I kind of feel that it, the musty couch is there, and I feel like it really brought that moment in the book to light pretty well.
Also, how clever is it that they used a lighthouse so Hagrid could fit? That was my thought from the book. We were like, how the fuck is he supposed to fit in this tiny shack? And they changed it to a lighthouse because it's super tall.
Right.
How much worse is it, though, that the floor in this actual little lighthouse than what you imagined in your head? Because in my head, he's sleeping on a little wooden floor, which is probably dirty, but he's literally sleeping in dirt in the movie.
Oh, yeah, they took it up a notch. And that birthday cake scene was really sad, but it was not part of the book.
No, I feel like they could have left it with the watch just because... during that scene, I remember, sitting at a friend's house in the middle of the night, staring at the clock, just willing the minutes to pass, and it wasn't even my birthday, and I wasn't even an orphan.
I get that.
That was a super vague story, Jade.
I'm just saying, when you're at somebody else's house and you're not comfortable, you're not in your own bed, and you can't sleep.
Or on a couch after a party. It's just not as good as your own bed.
Right.
And actually, this leads up to another big change from the book, is when Hagrid takes Harry, they leave that night. They don't wait till morning, and then they go to Diagon Alley, and then from Diagon Alley, he goes to the train.
And by the way, yeah, they leave at night and they show up in the morning. So they traveled, or they show up during the day. So they definitely traveled from midnight-ish when Hagrid got there until midday, and we're just fresh as a daisy, no problem. And also, once they get to ignoring all of the things in Diagon Alley that were ignored.
Right.
Hagrid brings him directly to the train station and then leaves him there because he's got to get back to Dumbledore. He has to leave immediately. He's been with him all day, and he can't even walk him to his platform.
picks him up in the middle of the night from a place that he doesn't even know where he is. He's already lost. He takes him to the train station and then says, make sure you follow these